Hello, and welcome to the Legally Blind Geek YouTube channel, where we focus on overcoming low vision challenges. Now, let me ask you a question. Are you or someone you know looking for a microwave oven that speaks to you? You're in luck. Such a kitchen appliance does actually exist. And not only does it work well in the kitchen, but you can put it in the office, the den, the family room, anywhere you might need a microwave oven to cook a food, defrost, pop popcorn, heat up a cup of coffee, what have you. So in today's video, we're going to take a close look at the Magic Chef Talking Microwave Oven test and review. How the control panel works, what the different little keys are, and answer all the questions that people ask, such as how do you set the clock time on the Magic Chef Talking Microwave Oven? How do you set the power levels? How do you use it as a kitchen timer? These questions and much more will be answered in this video. Stay tuned. Hello, please allow me to introduce you to the keypad of the Magic Chef Talking Microwave. The thing that separates the Magic Chef Talking Microwave Oven from other traditional microwaves that do not speak to you is basically the keypad and the way that you set and you adjust cook times, power settings, timer, and so forth. So with no further ado, let's kind of get right into it. As you see, the background of the keypad is black with the white buttons to offer some contrast for those that have a visual acuity issue. Now, with that in mind, going from the top left to the top right, we have one button that basically controls
cook time, not set cook time, minutes.
Cook time and stuff like that. You can use it when you set your power levels and that kind of stuff. You'll be using that a lot to set or reset different things. Now, maybe the first thing we need to get to before we get into that is about the volume of the thing. So you can turn the volume up and down depending on your atmosphere, your surroundings, or your level of hearing. Some people, like my girls in the house, they have extremely acute hearing, so they turn it all the way down so I can't hear the thing.
Cook time, not set.
So we have to start with that cook time not set. That kind of neutralizes everything, sets it up so that you can adjust it. Now, if we go all the way across from left to right, and then from the top down to the bottom button,
volume level 3, volume level 2.
That turns the volume level down, so the voice speaks softer. The button right above that,
volume level 3, volume level 4, volume level 5, volume level 6, volume level 7.
So it gets quite loud for anyone that has less than perfect hearing. But if you're like my girls in the house, it's got to be down around
volume level 6, volume level 5, volume level 4, volume level 3, volume level 2.
Which they kind of like, but for me, I like it a little bit louder than that.
Volume level 3, volume level 4.
So we'll stick with volume level 4. Now, the most commonly asked question that I get is how to set the clock on the Magic Chef Talking Microwave. And it's really pretty simple. Again, we'll start on the left-hand row of buttons, go all the way down to the bottom.
Clock 9:31 p.m. Set clock hours.
Basically, you push and hold it until it says cook or set clock time hours, and from there you can set the minutes or the hours, whatever you need.
10 p.m., 11 p.m., 12 a.m. Set clock minutes.
Then you just go over to your minutes like you were setting your cook time or whatnot, and when it says set cook time minutes,
32, 35, 40 minutes.
So it's 40 minutes. Push the clock button again.
Clock 12:40 a.m.
So now the clock is set at 12:40 a.m. Pretty quick, down and dirty, simple way of setting the clock. And another frequently asked question is about the timer and the timer button. And the way to adjust that is, again, it's on the bottom row in the center button, push and hold
Kitchen timer mode.
until it says kitchen timer mode. Now with the kitchen timer mode, if you go over here and hit your set cook time or the set button,
Set timer minutes.
it's going to say set timer minutes.
1 minute.
So if we just hit 1 minute,
Timer set 1 minute 0 seconds.
we check it by hitting the button there, the top left hand button, then drop down to the second button in the left hand row.
Timer running 1 minute 0 seconds.
So if we wait for a minute or so, then the timer will start, it will chime. And that is in direct relation to how you had the volume of the voice set. So if you're going to be in a different room or across the house or doing something where you've got some background noise, you might want to have that volume turned up a bit so that you can hear it. Because if it's turned down, like my ladies like to keep it turned down, or I should say my daughters like to keep it down, I'll never hear the timer go off. I'll never hear the chime. So keep that in mind when you're playing around with your volume. And you can adjust that volume up and down as you need to. If you're standing right there beside it and it's really quiet, there's no reason in the world to have it very loud. But you can't adjust it unless the set button is cleared. Right now, the timer is going, so nothing's going to work until that timer goes off. Voila. Now, from there, you have another feature that is up here that has to do with timer.
Timer reset to 0. Please set time. Set timer minutes.
We'll go to microwave settings, or microwave mode now with this button, if you'll let me.
Timer set 0 minutes 0 seconds. Microwave oven mode.
Say microwave oven mode, you go up here, hit this button.
Attend to food every 1 minute 0 seconds.
Now that's attend food setting. Now that button is on the center row all the way down, second from the bottom. We're 1, 2, 3 down from the top. And basically what that does is, for instance, if you're going to do an omelet in a mug and you need to cook the eggs and whatnot that you put in your mug for a total of 2 or 2.5 minutes, but you need to stir it every 30 seconds or you need to stir it every minute, you can use that to set this.
Cook time not set. Set cook time minutes. Cook time not set. Attend to food every 1 minute 0 seconds.
So right now it's set for 1 minute and 1 second. And you set your cook time for
Cook time not set. Set cook time minutes. 1 minute.
say 1 minute, 2 minutes. Then you go down here and you hit
Power level high 2 minutes 0 seconds. Microwave running.
your start button. It tells you that the cook level is at high and that it's going to cook the item in the microwave for a total of 2 minutes. But we set that, check the food at 1 minute interval, so it'll cook, it'll run for the minute, and then it'll chime and it'll stop. And then you can take your food out, take your cup out that you got your eggs in, your mug, whatever, stir it up real good, put it back in the microwave, and go ahead and push the run button again, and it will continue to cook the remainder of the time that you had originally set the cook time for. So we'll just open the door, took it out, stirred it, put it back in.
Set cook time. Cook time not set. Set cook time minutes. 1 minute. Power level high 1 minute 0 seconds. Microwave running.
So it didn't quite do what it normally will do, and that happens sometimes. I guess I pushed the button in the wrong order. And by now my cup of water that's in there to demo this thing with will be pretty hot. So I'm going to go ahead and just let it run the timeout. Okay. The basic operations, setting the time for cook time, and that illustrates how loud the volume is on that to let you know that your food is done. Now, set your cook time. Pretty simple. Push the button at the top left hand corner.
Cook time not set. Set cook time minutes.
Push and hold until it says set cook time, and then you can just set your minutes.
1 minute.
If you want to do a minute and a half, push the very top button on the right hand side for 1 minute, then come over to the center button on the top row.
Set cook time seconds.
Wait for it to tell you to set cook time seconds, then the up button will take the seconds.
1, 5, 10, 15 seconds.
If you just push it once at a time,
16 seconds. 17 seconds.
it'll advance 1 second at a time. If you push and hold it, it will go in increments of 5 seconds.
18, 20, 25, 30 seconds.
If you go a little bit too far, you can always drop down to the down button, which is the second button on the right hand column of buttons.
29 seconds.
You push it once, it'll go in 1 minute, or excuse me, 1 second increments or 1 minute increments. It just depends on what you're setting, time, minutes or seconds.
28 seconds. 27, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, 0 seconds.
All the way back to 0. Then you go over and you hit your start button.
Power level high. 1 minute. 0 seconds. Microwave running. 0 minutes. 57 seconds remaining.
You can always push the top left hand button as it's cooking, and it'll tell you how much time you have remaining on the selected cook time that you previously set.
0 minutes. 41 seconds remaining.
So we have 41 seconds remaining to cook my cup of water inside the microwave. So just to recap, to set the cook time minutes, you push the top left hand button until it says set cook time, and then you've got your up and down buttons, which are the top two buttons. The top button on the right hand side is for up. The second button down on the right hand side of the column, or the right hand column rather, is down. The button in the center is for minutes. Excuse me, the button in the center is for seconds. Now, the next thing that is pretty common to adjust up and down, especially if you're going to be cooking food, reheating food, and warming, is the power level, or the, how you want it, high, medium, or low.
Set cook time. Power level high.
So it's 1, 2, 3 buttons down from the top left hand side.
Power level high. Set power level.
Again, you push, hold the button until it says set power level. So you kind of see a reoccurring theme here. If you push it once and let go of it, it'll tell you what it's set at currently. You push and hold, and it gives you the opportunity to set, in this case, the power levels up or down. I'm going to hit the up button.
Medium.
So it goes to medium,
Low.
and then to low,
Defrost.
and defrost.
High.
And you can keep pushing that same button, it'll do high, or you can drop down one button to the down button.
Defrost. Low. Defrost.
So So you can toggle it back and forth, depends on where you want to go.
High.
If you didn't want to go to high, you wanted to go to defrost, instead of going all the way back through the menu again, just push that one button
Defrost.
and it'll go to defrost.
High.
Up to high. So you can toggle back and forth there, whether you're wanting to defrost. Oh, say you got some chicken or some fish in the freezer and you want to defrost that. You have to be careful with fish. You can kind of mess it up if you put it in a microwave and try to defrost it. Chicken, not so bad. But if you try to defrost fish in a microwave, it kind of cooks, it'll overcook the fish by the time it gets it thawed out. Now for your red meats, your porks, your beef, and frozen veggies, and frozen fruit and stuff like that, it does a pretty good job. But don't try and get it completely defrosted in the microwave. This is what I have learned. If you try to get like a mixed fruit that's been in the freezer and it's frozen, and you try to get it completely soft all the way, you'll start to cook it. You'll overcook it before it's all defrosted to where it's all nice and soft. Hope that makes sense.
Medium. Low. Defrost. High.
So once we got it selected for what power level we want, we go back down 1, 2, 3 buttons.
Power level. High.
It tells us that the power level is set to high.
Cook time not set.
And now we know the cook time is not set, so we can cook the settings, set our cook time or whatever settings we want to play with. We want to check what time it is again, the bottom lower left hand button.
Clock 12:52 a.m.
And the bottom row of buttons, we know that this bottom left hand button is for the clock.
Clock 12:52 a.m.
The bottom row of buttons, the button in the center, is for
kitchen timer mode.
You can adjust to the kitchen timer mode or
Microwave oven mode.
Microwave oven mode. Now sometimes if you're trying to set one or the other of those and you get a funny noise, you might want to make sure that you've got it set on like the microwave oven mode if you're trying to set cook time or power level. Subsequently, if you're trying to set the timer, you need to make sure that you're in the timer mode before you try to move the time up and down in minutes or seconds. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward. And your volume buttons, remember,
Volume level 3, volume level 2, volume level 3, volume level 4, volume level 5.
so you can set that volume to whatever is comfortable for you at the time. And keep in mind, if you use the kitchen timer and you're going to be in another room or so, make sure you go ahead and set that volume loud enough so you'll be able to hear across the room or in another room. Hello, Mike here. Hey, I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank you for watching this video. I would really appreciate any comments that you might want to leave. And oh, by the way, in the description down below, I have put together some links that will take you to Amazon, so you can take a look at the Magic Chef Talking Microwave Oven for yourself and check out some of the reviews that they have posted there, and maybe it'll work for you. And in addition to that, hey, I'd like to give a nice big shout out to Deanne Breitenbach. She is the inspiration of this video. She asked some questions that I tried to answer in this video. I hope you guys find it useful, and as always, if you wouldn't care to, go ahead and hit the subscription button if you like. Hit the notification bell, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much. Make it a great day, and be safe.